phosphorus time.
Greetings, fellow armchair imagineers. Blue Dragon 5 here.
Jon Kelling here.
And we're back. We're here talking Creature Commandos, episode 6, the quasi beginning of of James Gunn's DC universe, and it's been off to a smashing start. 6 episodes, no complaints so far. And so we're gonna kind of recap it, give our responses to the scintillating developments from this past episode. We got Jon Kelling for his fresh take, and folks out there in the comments who want to give us their 2 cents. We have Tiki, kind of with us in spirit, and technically, he'll be highlighting comments. He'll be kind of throwing them up there on the screen, and if we're not steeped in conversation, we may read them as well.
Yeah, we're not ignoring you because we don't care. We're ignoring you because, well, reading is hard.
Well, that's why I'm here. I will read the comments. You don't have to read them.
Thank God. Do I have to read these notes that I wrote?
That might be helpful.
Well, John, he can't do everything for you. I mean, John, you're going to have to try to make your way through life without us sometimes, you know?
That's it. I'm throwing myself into a nuclear reactor and becoming a Gotham supervillain.
Oh, that's an overreaction. Come on. Jon Kelling, come on.
Jon Kelling. Nice.
No, that's a nuclear reaction.
So, Dragon, you mentioned that, like, across the board, people have been loving all 6 of these episodes.
Are you good enough to join us on this, or?
I'm not going to join you on the whole thing, but I do want to mention...
Because I just feel bad because I didn't properly introduce you, because I thought you were more of an amorphous kind of concept.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I just want to make one point here, because you know me, I kind of like to call out kind of culture war bullshit when I see it. People are making a big deal out of episode 5 because, like, oh my God, it humanizes an abuser. Oh, how dare they? This show is toxic now. I've genuinely seen takes like that, and I just, guys, do you not know James Gunn's character style? And do you not get that, like, everything that happened in that episode does not let Eric off the hook? Eric isn't suddenly like this great guy that we should all rally behind.
I mean, I think the end makes it plainly clear.
I know, right?
He's still got Eric Francis still got ways to go before we have to have any conversations about, do we forgive him?
I think this episode even doubles down into, like, just because, like, Eric's flowery and seemingly eloquent words, like, give off the, air of a good man, it contradicts his absolutely inhumane and monstrous action. Like,
however, here's the grand scheme, though. He didn't kill the pilot this time.
Right, but he killed.
I just want to acknowledge I just do not get these takes of, like, oh, this show is toxic now because we have to relate to an abuser and a stalker.
You gotta, the interesting thing, James Gunn loves, like, wearing, like, the jacket with the red circles. He loves putting targets on his back in the sense of,
right.
He's addressing kind of, like, timely material in really interesting ways, in that we, like, the Eric Frankenstein character, I think, is a legit examination into like toxic masculinity without getting into the overly PC. We have to talk. We're throwing the term around where it loses its meaning. He's very, very genuinely approaching the material there, and in doing so, now it's going to bring everyone out of the woodworks who tosses that term out casually without really fully understanding what it means or having the actual conversation about it. So it's kind of like the double-edged sword.
So, like, I want to make it clear, like, I'm not naming names, and even if the off chance that some people that did voice that opinion are watching, very doubtful, but just in case, like, I respect your opinion, but just, like, I feel like you kind of need to, like, understand what James Gunn is going for and what his kind of MO is. Like, and granted, I don't think episode 5 was, like, the best episode of the season. It was, like, out of the episodes, it was probably one of the weaker ones that we've had, although I think they've all been at least really good. I'll stay pretty much silent through the rest of this, guys. I just wanted to address that because, like, honestly, just all the discourse about like, well, Eric's toxic and Eric is an abuser and a stalker. I'm like,
I mean, technically yes, but that's kind of the point, though.
Like, most of James Gunn's characters in general have some toxic bullshit going on with them.
Which, again, the hat trick is you end up liking them, though, and it's a path to get there.
Exactly.
When people bring up toxic masculinity, they usually focus on really one general depiction of it, which is like the over, like machismo, very alpha male, testosterone driven guys. Eric's like the opposite end of that spectrum, where he's the nice guy, but he does a terrible.
Well, he's doing this out of love, he thinks, but again, he's not understanding. He's not grasping the concept of what he's done is wrong.
He's obsessed. He feels entitled, and that's a lot of something that we don't really talk about.
If he's doing it out of love, then the bride is just screaming like, "What is love, baby? Don't hurt me, baby! Don't hurt me no more." I'm sorry.
But you see what you said. I mean, I love that this character. I love that Eric Frankenstein. I love that he's motivated by a pure intention, but again, he doesn't grasp the finesse of that intention. And doing so, he's completely self-defeating the purpose of everything that he made the bride for a very selfish purpose, but it was with the guise of like, my creator has love, why shouldn't I? Which is an understandable. Well, I mean, again, he was kind of like brought to life, through basically mad science, and he didn't really ask for that. And it's like, well, I have life now. I'm entitled to like the right and the possibility of love. He's now I'm going to inflict trauma onto another now newly revived being, and I'm going to claim you are now my wife. It's like the most twisted version of Crystal the Snowman you've ever seen.
Right. So, all right, we don't really have to dwell on that too much. I really did want to kind of jump on my soapbox and kind of, get my thoughts out on it. We got Little Blue on the comments just saying, "Holy flames of flaming balls of fire, Batman." I'm sure we'll talk about the Batman of it all soon. But yeah, John, Blue Dragon 5, this is your podcast. I will shut the hell up for the most part, except if I see a comment. Go ahead and fire into the episode proper. Fire.
Thank you, because I think we might have actually missed that potentially to bring that up. His just general demeanor and his actions, like as a whole, and how people are reacting to it, like in our world.
Let's face it, he's absolutely a flight risk, though. The bare minimum, he's a flight risk. We don't want Frankenstein traveling on the air.
I mean, well, this is why he hijacks private planes.
Yeah.
No one gets hurt. I mean, nobody that matters. Those are probably 3 CEOs.
Can you imagine Frankenstein flying coach, though? Can you imagine how hilarious and terrifying that would be?
You know what? I think he would upgrade to first class at the very least, because he would need the leg room.
Oh, you're right.
Right, now I just want to see Eric Frankenstein on the Titanic Challenger disaster. Like, it's just rich kids and this one kid that's terrified, but he's doing it for his dad. It'll be fine.
See,
no one of worth is going to die here.
Now I want to see Eric Frankenstein going through TSA.
Oh God!
And just get sucked into that bureaucratic nightmare.
God.
All right, let's delve into episode 6.
Okay, so this is the big Dr. Phosphorus backstory episode. Per our episode structure so far, and even with one episode left, it seems like we're going to commit to this, where every episode after the first one has been dedicated to the kind of a flashback structure in which we see the origin or how kind of our monster in question got to where they are. And I think something so smart money is that Nina Mazursky would be our last one for the season, and to this episode we got Dr. Phosphorus.
Yeah, that's it. That's interesting that they're saving her flashback episode for the finale.
That's no accident. Gunn's got a plan. He's made the most likable one. He saved him for last. It's going to be heartbreaking. It's going to be a whole thing.
See, I have another idea. I have another idea. I actually have some final predictions since this is the penultimate episode. I think Nina might be safe, but I think we got to worry about somebody else.
No, I'm not saying she's going to get killed. I'm just saying her backstory will be really sad.
Oh yeah, well no, all of their backstories have been tragic.
I think you and I probably say I think Weasel's gonna die in the finale.
Yeah, yeah. Like there was something like towards the end of this episode where like it kind of confirmed like some fan theories with the princess, and I'm like,
confirmed. Yeah, my fan theory came true.
yeah, they're like, yeah, no, the princess reminds him of the little girl that he was unable to rescue.
Yep, called
it. Yeah, this was a rather this was a pretty calm episode, like more or less. This is like the calm before the storm.
Yeah,
because not a lot really happened. Like the commandos were kind of scattered throughout the city. Eric's on his way, and Rick Flag has been rushed to the hospital with Amanda Waller in tow. The princess is readying for an attack. So everything is just kind of gearing up. Like it's like we kind of stopped to like to get a breather and be like, all right, let's take some time because next week's gonna suck for everyone.
I love how you call this episode a breather when it literally starts with like, look at your dead wife! Get your hands in her blood! Yeah, fingerprints! Yeah, we're gonna frame you! Yeah, you piece of shit!
This might be the most reprehensible. This might be the most reprehensible Rupert Thorne has ever been depicted. I think even in the comics.
Right.
Like I've never seen this like vile before. Like gleefully laughing at this man's despair.
Okay, so a couple things with so I guess just to break down Dr. Phosphorus's, at least most of Dr. Phosphorus's backstory here. So I love how James Gunn handled this. I love the idea that it feels like a classic Batman Rogues Gallery tragedy. Because Dr. Phosphorus, I believe, originally is a Batman villain. I know he's often associated, but I believe he is like full on a Batman villain who then he basically spread to the greater DC universe. But I think at his core was a Batman villain. Could be wrong there because Rupert Thorne is tied into his backstory. So I'm pretty sure it's Batman. He was created by, I think, Englehart. I think he was during the Englehart run, which is why he is linked to Rupert Thorne.
Yeah, Phosphorus first appeared in a Batman comic fighting against Batman, I believe, and does have direct ties to Rupert Thorne. I don't know if it was intentional that he became what he is, but I think Thorne, by way of corruption, was responsible for his transformation, like tangentially. So he is responsible, and in this, he is directly responsible.
So that's the thing. So again, I love that we're taking kind of the classic Batman Rogues tragedy with the James Gunn style and brutality in depiction of this. So it's, however, at the end, followed by an uplifting moment towards the tail end of the episode. So again, there's the James Gunn flair. We're gonna take a Batman Rogues tragedy, make it as bloody and traumatizing as humanly possible. And you're thinking, man, how much darker could it be? You're gonna throw a little dancing skeleton at you, and then at the very end, playing catch with a little girl. It's all going to be a sunshiny ending before, more horrible stuff's going to happen in our finale. But with that, though, Rupert Thorne being folded in here, I love that we kind of honored both. The animated series really bolstered Rupert Thorne in a big way. Because before that, Rupert Thorne, the era that we're kind of referencing here, Rupert Thorne was mostly kind of a corrupt politician who had a little bit of dabbling in the mob, but the idea like the mobsters would defer to Thorne. That was kind of the idea. And the animated series kind of made him okay. We can't have Falcone or Falcone, however you predilection for saying the last name. We couldn't quite get him, so instead we had Rupert Thorne in the Falcone role, which was a great idea. And we had John Byrne playing Rupert Thorne. It was a very iconic take on him. So I was very jazzed to see, oh my God, we even pulled Rupert Thorne. Like I had no idea until after the episode. Oh my God, Rupert, I had no idea that I knew Foster was a Batman villain. I knew obviously Rupert Thorne was. I didn't know like they had a little, I didn't know that's why specifically Rupert Thorne was tied into it. I thought maybe it was just an animated series reference, like, oh man, that's even better. We went deep cuts on it. Very nice. Because no one, let's face it, Dr. Phosphorus is a blank canvas. The most we've ever done, he's always been a background, which is why he's such a golden opportunity for a James Gunn kind of like team member here, because as we see, James Gunn flourishes in the unknown. And Phosphorus fits that to a T. You know, we can develop this guy because he's always a background villain. The most development I've ever seen with Dr. Phosphorus was in the show The Batman, where we turned Firefly, the pre-established character, into a Phosphorus.
Yeah, I think before Caped Crusader, that was also the last time we saw a depiction of Rupert Thorne was in the Batman.
Yes, I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that what they did here with Phosphorus, Alex Sartorius. Sartorius. Yeah, it's interesting because out of everybody in the Creature Commandos, he's probably the one that, by definition, should not legally be on the team. And I think so far from what we've seen, I feel like he's the only one that should objectively be locked up. Because everybody else, I don't see the issue with... We don't even know why the bride was arrested.
Well, I mean, we saw her getting all these fights throughout time with Frankenstein. She's probably gotten into some illicit activities, and just in general, like brawling with a monster. She's probably ended up there just for like acts of violence in public, or maybe people getting hurt in the crossfire. So she's probably,
maybe, but like,
I don't regard. It just seems like she's had a life where she's probably like stolen a few things.
I just mean just from an outside view, like he's the only one, not counting for Nina because we don't know what her backstory is yet. He's the only one so far that objectively should be locked up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right. Everyone else has been kind of a case of like, okay, the gun got screwed up. Like for example, GI Robot and Weasel clearly screwed over by the system. They didn't deserve.
You can make the argument for GI Robot,
yeah.
But like, they're like
I still think that judge. Okay, two things with GI. Okay, I still think that judge was in on like I think it was like a Southern judge who was in on like what was going on in the the neo-Nazis.
They tried him as a human being, and I'm like, but he's not.
Well, that's the other thing. That was the second point. The fact that again, he's a robot though. It shouldn't even. I don't think he meets the standard of man in that case.
Like he was just following his program. Oh, these guys are Nazis. Kill them.
Yeah. So I think that's literally, by definition, that's out of his control.
Lesson of that episode.
Again, if he's human, then he was. If he counts as human, that means he was sold into slavery, essentially. So no one's going at him, and he killed his slaver, essentially. So why does that?
Yeah, no, he needs a new lawyer. That's all. Well, he needs
public defender.
He's dead, so
yeah.
So yeah,
he needs the Cardellini lawyer. That's what he needs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we're right about some.
Well, also he's dead too, so it doesn't really help him anyway.
Yeah.
But again, he could be rebuilt though. So we'll see what happens with GI Robot. There is a season 2 coming.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe that's why they're killing off a couple of our darlings, so they can maybe put in some more classic Creature Commandos for season 2. We've already seen that some of them apparently exist serving cafeteria food. Okay, so Phosphorus is framed for the murder of his family. His wife and his daughter are brutally killed by Thorns.
His wife and son.
Is it his son?
Yeah. So he has a son. Then later at the tail end, we have like the daughter. He has a son.
Oh, okay. That his wife and his son are brutally murdered by Thorn's men, and he is just beside himself. Like he's just distraught.
So, but we got to highlight how great. So, Alan Tudyk has always been a man of many talents. God, where to start? But I mean, already Resident. Have you seen Resident Alien, Jon Kelling?
Resident Alien. Yeah. On Sci-Fi. Yeah. I think I've seen at least the first 2 seasons.
All right. Here's the thing. I've always been blown away by Alan Tudyk ever since I saw. Well, I would say I liked him going back to Dodgeball, and beyond that, then you kind of realize he keeps kind of turning up, and then people love him in Fireflies when he really blew people away. And then
3, he's been in like every Disney movie since. I want to say...
Now, he really is Disney's John Ratzenberger. He really is in that case, because they do find ways to put him in pretty much all the Disney movies.
They will find a way to put him in. Moana's evident of that, if anything.
Yeah, so the point being, very talented. I mean, especially on the DC side of things, the thing that really blew me, I say this with no joke, and I'm aware of the Harley Quinn animated show, but I got to tell you, man, ever since I saw him in Doom Patrol as Mr. Nobody, I still hold true that if we ever did like a legit, like, like a very faithful adaptation of if we made a stab at doing a definitive Batman in live action, we would have Alan Tudyk playing the Joker, and we would have maybe like someone like John Hamm playing Batman. You know what I mean? Like
that would be fascinating. I don't think we've ever had a case where somebody has voiced an animated character and go on to play them in live action before this like whole DCU setup.
Yeah.
Interesting note. Phosphorus, before his transformation, is physically designed to resemble Alan Tudyk.
Which that's why I bring it up. I really love that. It's a really good performance. And the fact that Alan Tudyk has played multiple characters, and all these characters you could conceivably see him playing in live action as well. And just see this. However, this one absolutely looks like him translated into animation, which is even better. It makes it even all the more personal.
Yeah, it's fun. It kind of gives a humanity. I'm like, yeah, that's the voice of the man that I'm hearing. Yeah, like that's what he looks like before he becomes a glowing green skeleton.
Yeah. So again, so far, we've had him play like 3 roles, and we've really fleshed out we fleshed out those 3 roles. The third one, admittedly, we may or may not. I wonder if we're going to keep him on for that role, but we'll, with the whole Mike Flanagan news.
There's a good chance that could get recasted, but again, like considering what that character is,
yeah,
like they could easily keep him on. I think there might be a golden rule where actors can only physically portray like a human character, but like Gunn will like give like carte blanche to like allow them to play any kind of CGI creature.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It's the question of like the Mike Flanagan Clayface thing that's been announced. It does sound like that's going to that'll be I presume that'll be the origin of the Clayface that we see in Creature Commandos, but it'll be like the beginnings of that.
Fun if we go through the history of all of the Clayfaces.
That would be really. All I know is so far they've talked about Matt Hagen. Now that is the thing. And remember, the misnomer is that Basil Karlo is the actor version of Clayface that we then folded into Batman the Animated Series under the name Matt Hagen. That's we kind of combined like 2 or 3 of the Clayfaces. Predominantly, it's Basil Karlo and Matt Hagen. Then I think technically some elements of the third one that no one really talks about. But the point being, it's predominantly Basil Karlo with a better name.
Yeah, we either only ever get Basil Karlo, which has been the most used. Matt Hagen, I think we've only used once with animated series.
Yep.
And then we never get any other one.
No.
We've
never adapted any of the others. The only one we did an original one with Ethan Bennett, but aside from that, we've never done a different Clayface.
Which was cool. It was a cool invention for the show to make an original character that was kind of important and supporting into a villain, named villain. Yeah, we never got Preston Payne. We never got Sandra Fuller.
Preston Payne, I think, is the third one that I think the animated series borrowed from. I think.
It depends.
I'm trying to remember. I think it's the one who had like the dome for the head. I think that was the
and he has like a touch that turns people into a plasma clay like goop, like melts, and then like it keeps him like situated. It's a whole thing.
The whole an anthology of sorts about the history of Clayface would be really impressive. I mean, I don't know if that's where we're going to go with it, because that seems like a tall order, but then again, I don't know. But the point being, though, anyway, adaptation of Clayface sounds good. And the fact that we had like Alan Tudyk playing Clayface again after his Harley Quinn role, which of course, main reason you have like Alan Tudyk playing Clayface in any form in the show with a James Gunn show is the fact that the fictional James Gunn was in Harley Quinn season 2 and befriended Clayface.
Yeah, it's almost like an in-universe kind of thing. It's all like, oh, I'm friends with him, like a movie about him.
And we have an animated James Gunn.
Did he have I was gonna say, does he have the same design as he does in the credits? Because I love how we have
pretty much. It's the white-haired James Gunn. I don't think he has the beard though. I think that's the one difference.
Yeah, he's clean shaven in the Harley Quinn show, but he has like his white, like kind of like Buffon spiky hair.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I think isn't that while Clayface is pretending to be Billy Bob Thornton or something.
Well, so initially he meets James Gunn. I believe for a moment he shapeshifted into James Gunn. Then he turned to Billy Bob Thornton. You're right. So he's pretending to be Billy Bob Thornton, who was cast as Thomas Wayne in the Wayne biopic.
I think Billy like somehow died in universe.
Yeah, that's in Clayface accidentally killed. Billy Bob Thornton was helping him out. I think he ended up getting killed. I think Clayface accidentally murdered Billy Bob Thornton. I think that's what happened.
Man, Harley Quinn's such a funny show. It's just it does not take itself seriously, and that's kind of why I love it a lot of the time.
Yeah, I mean, again, after the second season, I think it went downhill. But the first two seasons I felt were very, very solid. Yeah. Anyway, point being, so Alan Tudyk is playing multiple roles and having done a pretty good job doing all three. But again, Sartorius so far, both Alex Sartorius and Phosphorus, I think he's just done an exemplary job just seeing a man at his utmost low point where just, he's being and again, so brutal. We make the mob just pure evil. It's like laughing at him like, yeah, like smear those hands, get those prints on that OJ, yeah.
Dude, that honestly, like that scene was like, it's not quite as disturbing as like the Weasel flashback, but
I don't know. It's the corpse of his family, including his small child.
It's up there.
There's still dead children in the frame. I don't know.
What happened to Weasel was tragic, and it was sad, and it was ultimately an accident. What happened to Alex? That is all intentional from Thorne and his men.
That's all because he didn't want like a fascist nation to get like a literal. Like not even just like they're fascist, like no, pretty much a fascist nation to get nuclear secrets.
That's the risk you run when you involve yourself with bad men in Gotham City.
Yeah,
when you try to screw them over, they will screw you back twice as hard.
Yep. That's true. And again, it's love. So again, the way I was very pleased with how we depicted just kind of like a Batman tragedy with the James Gunn flair. I know I keep saying that, but I don't want to undersell. Like that was a really great strength to this episode. That again, like at the end of the day, all these episodes have been so impressive. It's going to be hard to label a favorite after we get the seventh. But I tell you, man, this is up there for me. I really did like this one.
I mean, Chasing Squirrels is still pretty up there for me.
I know. That's good, too. That's really hard to beat.
I'm personally biased towards Cheers for the Tin Man.
I know. That's another really... That's what I'm saying. It's really hard. Okay, so episode-wise, the Commandos, after the ambush at the end of the last episode, the Commandos have kind of split up, and they're going to reconvene outside the castle for basically their mission to kill Princess Alana. Sorry. Anyway, I love what I mentioned this before, but John, how do you feel about this? I really like that the princess is like in the know and she has a really good grasp on the situation, but she's not backing down. The idea that she knows the Commandos have been misled. We're not doing any of the BS of like, oh no, it was a lie the whole time. Rick Flag, how could you betray me? None of that. All that's gone. It's just the fact that it's like, she knows Rick Flag told her, and it's like, she just has just the right amount of information. Okay, Cersei misled them, but hey, they're coming after me. I'm gonna have to kill them.
Yeah, it's interesting to note that she's like, ah, damn, they're after me. It's like, well, they have to die. Like not for nothing, but I'm not going to risk my life, sparing them if they have orders, and they are monsters, so. As friendly as they appear, they're killers, and I'm not risking anything.
She's gonna be the one to fucking kill Weasel, isn't she?
Yes. So that's my theory. Okay, here's my theory. Okay, with the Weasel thing, here's exactly what I think's gonna happen. Okay, so all the Commanders are going there. He's gonna be the one that either in the moment or with the plan already in going there with that little flash that we saw, he is going to try and save the princess, but he's gonna be the first one charging at her in order to save her, and will get shot down by her men.
If not
exactly
by her men,
what I think's going to happen.
Not by her men, by her.
Well, that's like by her person. The point being, by her / or whoever, by her hand, the Weasel will die.
Yep.
And it'll be sad. We're all going to be real. We're all going to be sad boys watching it.
You've thrown your last stick, Weasel.
Yeah.
Those
That's what
wolves
you
are
get
gonna-
for having an Emmy episode, Weasel.
Why are we cheering for his death?
It's the pair.
Cheering for his death. I'm reading between the lines, and I can see where this goes. James Gunn likes to fuck with us.
Yeah.
Like
For such an animal lover, James Gunn really does put a lot of them down.
Even to the extent of like James Gunn literally fucked with us by not killing anyone in Guardians Volume 3. That was like a double fuck.
Well, he did kill like 3 of Rocket's closest friends who opened his eyes and taught him how to speak.
So many times in through Volume 3, I was like, "Oh my god, when is the shoe gonna drop?"
Right.
Well, we've shot Drax. You know, we've frozen
There
Peter
were at
Quill in
least 2
space.
times where I thought Drax was a fucking goner.
Yeah.
They technically killed Rocket. Like he died for a hot second.
He went ethereal. That's as dead as you get.
Yeah, they didn't even technically kill the High Evolutionary. Like he's still
He is alive, and there's a deleted scene that definitely confirms. Oh yeah, so it was already. If you look really closely, his body is taken, but he is not. He's not.
No,
dead.
Drax is carrying him when they're escaping with the animals. Like Drax, High Evolutionary got out alive, man.
He did.
Yeah. So the creature commandos are all scattered. Phosphorus breaks into a family's home. Bride and Nina hide out in a brothel.
Yeah, at the Can. You've been there, John. They went to the Can.
We don't talk about El Salvador.
Well, okay, what's this Pecolistan, though? We talk about Pecolistan.
It's a franchise.
Okay, fair point. It's a very successful. By the way,
John, are you aware of the movie Anora at all?
I'm aware of it.
Okay, so during all these hijinks with the prostitutes and the Bride and Nina, I was just thinking to myself, like, how amazing would it be for the Bride and Nina to interact with Anora? That would be an amazing crossover. All right. Anyways,
there's a movie called I think it's there's a movie with Adam West called Hooker with a Heart of Gold. I think that's out of the tagline, or it's like
Hooker with a Heart of Gold is pretty much like the trope that Pretty Woman invented.
Well, I don't know if that was the tagline, or if that was the actual title, where it was basically a very unsubtle, but it was very, it was anyway. It was just point being, it does make me think, like, what if we just put a spin on Nora? How do you sum up Nora? It's the Happy Hooker movie.
No, Anora is pretty much like the first half is Hooker with a Heart of Gold, and then the second half is like Hooker with a big potty mouth who's trying to get out of being killed, basically.
That doesn't roll off the tongue, though.
He does have a major potty mouth, though.
I have trouble watching actors after they've been Ghostface. It takes a little bit for me to kind of wean off of that. Right. And I'm like, I don't trust you at all.
Okay, anyway. So, so we go to the Can, which, by the way, is a great name for a brothel.
Great name.
Yeah, it feels very Old West. I love it. Feels like that should have been in Westworld, but it wasn't.
Yeah, nothing says Old West like a polka stat. So,
sure.
It was giving me more like less Old West and more like Paris Moulin Rouge.
Well, no, you're right. It's very Moulin Rouge-y in terms of especially with how they're dressed and everything. But it's funny though. I believe Mrs. Maroney from The Penguin. She plays the proprietor, the den mother of the prostitutes.
Nice.
She is. If you can recognize her voice, that's her.
Yeah, I love it. It just DC just cross-spreading all their actors. They're like, here, you're done with this. Go here for an hour.
Okay.
All right, we got a comment here. We have Hunter Iggy in the comment saying, I've got a what-if question. Do you think the princess will reveal that she is pregnant with Rick Flag Sr.'s child?
I think that'd be kind of interesting, given he lost the son.
For sure. I could see her using that as kind of like a bargaining chip. I could see that being a bargaining chip being the main reason why she, came on so hot and heavy to Flag to begin with.
Well, then we're getting into like House of Cards territory. I don't know if I want to go there with it.
well, you never want to go full House of Cards.
Well, that's the specific thing I'm referencing is like the bad season of House of Cards.
Right,
like, that's
right.
from like I don't want to go that House of Cards with it, but you see what I mean? It just feels like that takes like the purity out of what happened. I just like to think that it was something pure, and then it just kind of happened. And it was like, okay, well, maybe that's what saves her.
You know what? I'll maintain that I still think one of the smartest decisions this show made, like the whole like 2000s American culture thing, was a little overplayed, but I do really like that at the end of the day, Alexei wasn't like some sort of romantic rival or big jerk or anything. He was just a husband trying to do his job.
I love that. Phosphorus feels a little bad about killing Alexei. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
He was like, I like that guy. I'm like, I kind of did too, man.
Yeah, it's like Alexei. That's the thing. It was so refreshing that Alexei, like, he wasn't mad about what was going on in the bathroom.
And at the end of the day, he was just doing his job.
Yeah,
his job, and you work with mercenaries basically. So
Alexei was a really good driver too.
Yeah,
just throwing it out there. Anyway, yeah, but yeah. So here's the thing. I honestly, the pregnancy, I don't think that can come to pass, at least immediately, because it's only been like less than a week. I don't think that can really. I don't think she can use as a bargaining chip that early on, can she?
True.
The fact that it's quite even Morning says would said. I think
unless she's got some sort of like bullshit power that makes
come
stuff,
on,
quicker. I don't know. You don't know. You never know what these shows are going to go
DC universe. Anything's possible.
Okay, right, well, look on the subject of roasting.
Reagan, have you seen Alien Romulus? Did you see how quickly that xenomorph human hybrid baby developed?
But that's xenomorph biology.
I know.
Okay, anyway, on Roastive, I do want to say this though. Again, I'm still convinced that I think the reveals. I don't know exactly how Clayface is going to factor into it in terms of what Clayface did, but I still am convinced that the vision of the future is real. And what they're doing now to prevent it is what causes it. That's what I think is going to happen. So I think that's going to be the twist. I just don't know why someone would hire Clayface to, kind of like, I guess with the expectation that even so, because Cersei comes to him anyway, though it makes no shoes. We have someone confirm it, which she would have done anyway. That's the thing that loses me. But again, I think that's just the mystery part that we don't know yet. It's the variable that we're missing.
Well, if the vision is to be believed. And that is Gorilla Grodd, then Grodd is involved in somehow. Maybe these are all his mechanisms. Maybe he wants to like plunge the Earth into like a post-apocalyptic state so he can easily take over.
Here's the one hole in the. I hear that, and I've been a lot of people speculating. Here's the one hole in that, though. Okay, in the vision, Grodd's playing. Well, I guess somewhat of a pun intended here. He's playing second banana. Why would he play second banana if he mind controlled her?
Because if Grodd is up front, then every superhero and their mama is going to come and stop that monkey.
Well, I'm saying the damage has already been done. I'm saying this is like when she's already taken over. Like, why is he now still playing second banana in that vision?
I don't know. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's not outright controlling her. Maybe he's just influencing her.
Okay, I guess. But I'm saying we'll see what happens. That's the one thing I got there with that vision. It's the one thing. But you think it would be Grodd controlling her? Maybe that's the cleverness of Gunn. Like he's making it so you don't know full on, which is what you want to do with that. So we're gonna have to see where it goes.
That's assuming this story wraps up by the end of the last episode. They got a confirmation for season 2.
I think at the very least we would reveal, like, if Grodd's behind, we would have to at least reveal him. Then that's the cliffhanger, like that's.
Yeah, if we're leading up to like a big reveal of Grodd, then it kind of it's kind of already been spoiled with the fact that he's appeared in the vision itself. It's interesting. Is this the first confirmation that we got that Amanda Waller is directly in charge of Argus, or was that revealed in the first episode?
Well, so here's the thing, John. So we've seen I think it was with Peacemaker. We saw some concept thing where we saw Rick Flag standing in front of the Argus logo. So I think we made the leap there. We've said I forget if we said the word checkmate or not, but we know she's in charge of other stuff, aside from Task Force X. So I think Argus was assumed, but not. You're right. Has not been said until this moment. So you're right. This is the first time we're saying Argus, but I think Argus was like we didn't like see the logo or name it yet. But you're right. It's the first official confirmation pre Peacemaker season 2, I guess.
That's interesting because I think like before that, between the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, it was just like a nebulous just Black Ops operation run by Amanda Waller, like on behalf of the government unofficially. So making this an official Argus sanctioned team kind of helps cement things a bit. It's more on paper, I guess. Probably falls in line. Maybe she had to like make it a part of something to make it official with Congress. And
well, yeah, after everything, after being discovered for all the shady stuff she was doing with the Suicide Squad, yeah.
Be like, oh, what you the woman that you put in charge of running all of your shady government operations, you're surprised to find out she's shady.
Which, by the way, remember, Peacemaker season 2. I'm still convinced we're gonna do like the reveal there of Rick Flag finds out that Amanda Waller essentially commissioned the death of her son.
Basically, by just ordering Peacemaker to retrieve and quiet the truth, like by any means necessary.
Well, that's the thing. We still have to pay. We set up in Peacemaker. I'm not turning this to a whole Peacemaker thing, but this is something to mention. Since Rick Flag, thank goodness, by the way, is not dead. He's my favorite character in the show, so I'm glad he didn't get killed off. So I love what Frank Grillo is doing with that role, and I can't wait to see more of him.
Honestly, him having the whole like implied like, oh my god, is he gonna die? That might be like the weakest writing element to the whole show for me so far, just because like, look, if we didn't know that he was going to be in other stuff, it wouldn't be a big deal.
But that's the thing, though. Technically, setting-wise, those could have been shuffled around without our knowing, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, there's nothing to say that anything is coming out in a linear order. This could take place after the events of Superman.
That's why I thought that. Here's the thing. Right now, the whole. I don't want to get into the whole.
Guess so, but just thinking about it like that makes my head hurt.
Look. Just like, Tiki, the way. Tiki, I'm pretty sure your read is correct. I'm saying don't worry about that. What I'm saying is, right now with all like the stupid thing about it, why is his hair a different color? That whole thing that's making everyone think, okay, well, maybe if
who cares?
I know.
Amanda Waller doesn't look exactly like Viola Davis, but it looks like Amanda Waller.
Well, not that. It's the fact, like in Superman and Peacemaker, I think he has, at least in Superman, he's got dark hair and like the eye. James Gunn's explanation has a really good explanation. By
we have production photos of him in Superman.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's a production photo in Superman, and he has dark hair. And so, look, to keep it simple, to you read on it's right, but the James Gunn's like look at the practicalities that he couldn't dye his hair because he was doing Tulsa. Sorry, he couldn't like dye his hair like gray or white because he was doing Tulsa King, and needed, for consistency and all that sort of stuff. The in-universe reason I think is really good that he's given that. Rick Flag, he's taken on outside of the Commandos, he's taken on like a lead of. I think he's like the leader of Argus technically, or at least officially, he's the leader while Amanda Waller's like really running it. And he's doing a more public thing, and he wants to kind of change up his appearance. It's a vanity thing. Points he's dyed his hair kind of in a vain way, which feels very James Gunn down to earth, kind of like, which I think makes a lot of sense. He's gonna touch up the gray. That's good.
Well, it's because he just used the real reason why he couldn't as the reason why he looks the way he is. That's the easiest. That's the easiest way to use. Just
Plus, again, here's people read between the lines, and this is completely like a headcanon thing, and I don't think it's really the case, but it's the fact that, you can look, a lot of people have made, especially with the first 2 episodes, people have made the comparison that, Rick Flag with the white hair and the beard looks a little like James Gunn, and the princess looks a little like.
Especially because we literally see animated James Gunn right after his credit in the intro.
Looks a little like him, and the princess looks a little like his new bride from Peacemaker, and Jennifer Holland looks a little like her. And just one could connect the dots there. So it's the fact that maybe it's a struggle that James Gunn had with the whole, do I dye the hair? Do I not dye the hair? And kind of applying that to Rick Flag kind of fits. I don't know.
James Gunn, dye your hair black again. It'll be funny.
Okay. Anyway.
I know you're listening.
Well, of course he's listening. Rohit has.
What I think Creature Commandos season 2, both Rick Flag and the James Gunn in the intro have black hair.
That'd be really funny.
But specifically for James Gunn, I want to be dripping down the side of his face because it hasn't set in yet.
Be like that scene from Curb Your Enthusiasm. Okay, anyway. So, so point being, we're kind of jumping all over the place here. The bride and Nina, they hide out in this brothel, which it's something interesting with the bride is that, she's looking down on the girls' choices, and she ends up saving them, which I think is a nice arc for her, given that she was kind of, we're adding layers to the bride. She was created as something to be objectified, essentially. So kind of her, again, kind of having kind of a, not a hypocrisy about her with that. It's kind of interesting.
It's a catharsis for her.
Yeah, that's the better way of putting it. Yeah. So I ultimately like that she kind of saves them and kind of feeling that, I kind of know what these girls have been through and I don't want to, Yeah, of course, she takes down a metahuman in doing so really roughly by ripping his heart out.
Yeah, if that's not a metaphor, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're foreshadowing how the reunion's going to go with Frankenstein there, but I mean he'll be fine, but it's still going to hurt, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, I got predictions for him too. But interesting though, with the brothel thing, the metahumans are I think it was already confirmed, but like this is confirmation through this in the universe. Metahumans are a widely known thing.
Yeah.
Like anybody could potentially be a metahuman. It's not just superheroes. Like just normal ass people could just get powers and just be like, I'll just do whatever I want.
Well, they survived their bang babies. They survived the Big Bang in Dakota. That's how we got the metahumans.
I was literally just going to bring up baby.
Static shock confirmed, man.
Yeah.
So I think we should get into Phosphorus, his transformation and his rebirth, as it were.
So we killed him like Dr. Manhattan, which was an inspired choice.
Yeah. I'm like the whole time I'm like, what does that machine do? Is it just a reactor? Why is it big enough to fit a human person?
Well, it's like that scene in I think it's kind of like that scene in the first Kick-Ass movie where he we have we put the guy in microwaves. In the comic, it was a vice, but here forget that. Not in the comic, but initially when they were going to shoot that, they were going to use a vice when they realized it's too similar to the movie Casino, so they they kind of swapped it.
So what? Gotham used it in an episode where
no. I'm saying there's no precedent for it. They can do whatever they want. I'm just saying it was like, hey, let's kind of change it up. Let's kind of zhuzh it up a bit. So they made it even more demented with the kind of the microwave that would dry the dampness from the wood. So it's essentially
the Kick-Ass movie is like so much more comic booky than the comic book actually is. And
it was the first Kick-Ass movie at the very least is better than the comic, I would say.
It's definitely more fun.
For sure.
The comic is like it's kind of a downer.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like the scene before he gets hit by the car, I guess stabbed by right before he has his first encounter. It's like, man, it's really dark. Everyone's being really mean to him. I was just walking around in costumes. That's such a downer.
Yeah.
Anyway, point being, so I don't know. I think it's because remember, John, what they're using the experiment is to. I guess was being primed for a human or maybe an animal building up to a human test subject, where we're basically using a targeted amount of radiation to get rid of cancer forever, forget remission, like it's like a permanent remission, like it wouldn't to a point where it would not come back. So we're working on a cancer cure. And by the way, I love the little details with Satori's, and again, blank canvas of a character we could do this with to kind of make the whole why nuclear? Like how do we legitimize these experimenting in nuclear materials? Well, it's a radiation thing. It would probably work into cancer research, and again, just the applications of that research. It's kind of an international quality. He has like an interracial marriage, and it's kind of. That's pretty cool, and just seeing the fact that because of this, his wife came from not Bialia, but which, by the way, is a comics pool, and just kind of a place like Bialia, which has very oppressive leadership, and because of that, he didn't want nuclear secrets kind of going to those guys, given where his wife escaped from.
No, right, yeah, but at the same time, he still worked with them, like knowing
He
all
did.
of it.
Well, again, he just thought honestly was alone. That's really all he thought was like it was like a funding thing, and I guess he was getting fake numbers, which I mean, too. Yeah, I mean, Sartorius, he made a very earnest kind of overreach there. Like, okay, well, maybe this. By the same time, it's like he made kind of an offensive kind of assumption that they need the research, so they're not going to be smart enough to decipher that the numbers are fake or
They
bogus.
need me. They're not gonna kill me. You wanna bet? This is Gotham, baby.
I think his logic was okay. When I have like the results that actually cures cancer, maybe I can give him something. But until then, it was very much like I can't give him like if I give him the raw materials, it's going to turn into a bomb or something, which we don't want.
So Thorne and his men throw Alex into this chamber, like make it go critical for all intents and purposes, and laugh
They overcook him.
while his skin is burning him like alive, like he's just boiling from the inside, seemingly, and they leave him for dead.
This is why Two-Face absolutely was right in kicking the crap out of Rupert Thorne and trying to kill him in part 2.
Man, Rupert Thorne caused a lot of problems in the animated series.
He did indeed. And this, it's just he was a real nasty customer ultimately.
So, reborn as Phosphorus, he stumbles out. He seeks out Rupert Thorne, breaks into his home, kills him and his family, including his children.
Yes. Who wants to shake hands with a skeleton?
Oh, not me. Don't touch me.
No touchy.
Don't touch me. I got an oven mitt. This will fuck you up. I've seen it.
By the way, I have a question for you. People have theorized about this. Do you think the radiation made him a little mad? Like insane kind of mad?
I think the radiation plus the fact that
being
Thorne
reborn,
dumped his face into his family's dead bodies, and the pool of blood made him insane. Like, I think if he just got radioactive, I think he would have been relatively fine. But I think the fact that he just lost everything, he goes, well, I'll lose everything then, including my mind.
and by the way, I always want to highlight something with Phosphorus. The other cool kind of Batman related thing with Phosphorus is Phosphorus has always been kind of like a footnote of a Batman character, but the biggest contribution he's ever had to the character of Batman, pre this, has been Batman the Animated Series, with the one of the inspirations behind at least the visual for Derek Powers.
For Blight, yeah.
Yeah,
that's for all intents and purposes, that is their version of Dr. Phosphorus.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, it was basically, okay, we don't want to just do literally Dr. Phosphorus an adaptation of that character, but we love the visual, and we just want to do our own thing with it because we have a really good character in Derek Powers.
We want to do our own thing by just calling him a different name and making him a corporate CEO.
Well, what's funny though? Again, I say that with like 80% certainty because there is a very slim chance it was just a happy accident. Slim chance. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that Phosphorus was like the visual inspiration. You compare the two. It's very A and B. It's very.
He's a glowing skeleton that burns stuff. Like it's kind of hard to not replicate that within the franchise.
Here's why I say 80% though, okay? Spellbinder, complete accident. There is a Batman character in the olden comics called Spellbinder. Was not the direct inspiration. That one was complete accident.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. I'm saying there's a little window there. There's a little window. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm derailing us with factoids. So, murder of Rupert Thorne and his wife, his children, with glee on his presumably smiling face.
Oh yes, he's smiling. Yeah, and it just takes over Thorne's organization. He becomes a crime boss. The joke's been going around all week. What the hell's in the water in Gotham that just makes people turn to crime?
Well, we saw what turned him to it. It's like
But like his next thought is like, and now I think I'll go into organized crime.
Well, remember, he kills all of Thorne's men. So I think there's a track of like revenge. Like, okay, I killed all the guys that were responsible for killing my family, and then it's like, well, everything belongs to Rupert Thorne belongs to me now because he took everything from me. I'll take everything from him now.
It's definitely revenge, but it's also kind of like, what the hell else can he even do?
Yeah,
I think it also highlights his insanity. He's like, yeah, I'll be a crime boss. Like that, I'm in Gotham. What else am I gonna do?
Also, like, the dance scene, I think, is probably the most well-animated sequence out of anything in this show so far.
The edit's very strong, too. It's good. It's got a good edit going on.
Yeah, like, cutting between him and like dancing, what I'm assuming is like his wedding, this wedding day of him and his wife, like dancing. Like it is haunting. It's like this is the ghost of his past, and like here he is just fully embracing like the madness that has just taken over him. It's he might have the most tragic backstory because he's the only one I can relate to like as a human being, because everyone else is like a monster, and I'm like,
I love that he is a walking representation of
hard
death.
To compete with Weasel though, because Weasel was literally like born a monster and has had to deal with, you know, like, oh my god, it's a monster literally his entire existence, and the only reason he got as attached to those kids as he did is because they were the only people he had ever come across that didn't treat him like that. Like that, I'm sorry, that to me kind of takes the cake on tragic.
But the only thing with Weasel is that like I don't know how self-aware he is like 90% of the time.
Right.
He seems so out of it. I'm like at the end when they all regroup and he like runs to Phosphorus like happily, and I'm like, he's not even aware of what's going on. He's just happy to see somebody he recognizes.
In the woods with the wolves, he probably would have been a lot more happy. He probably wouldn't have died.
So bad leaving them, and I'm like, no, stay with the wolves. Be their pack leader. Like,
right.
So much better with you in their lives. Like, don't do this, Weasel.
So
you're gonna die.
Yeah. So by the two things with Phosphorus I want to mention during the dance party, I love that again he's again walking representation of death and tragedy and just the rebirth of the fact that he's a skeleton. But the other thing I want to mention is that he's I love that his gang very much is feels like a reference to the kind of the Neon Street gang from Batman Forever.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Batman and more so Batman and Robin. You know, I think they're established in. I want to say they're established in Batman Forever, but then we go full.
No, they were prominently featured in Batman Forever when Dick Grayson saves the girl and Batman.
Don the King Dragon plays the leader of the.
I believe so, with the mohawk.
Yeah.
Yeah. His henchmen, like, paint their face green and then black to make up an inverse of his actual face, to show that like Gotham criminals, there's themed costume henchmen. This is a regular thing. I love any chance where a villain has costume henchmen, and I'm like, yep, branding is everything in Gotham. If Batman's proven us anything, branding is everything in Gotham.
Oh yeah. Speaking of which, the Batman shows up in silhouette.
Okay, can I just acknowledge we're like almost an hour into this podcast, and I'm legitimately proud of you guys that it's taken this long to get to the Batman. Like that's some self-control on your part, Dragon. I'm proud of you.
Oh no, that's some self-control on my part too. I fucking love Batman.
Okay, so with that, I do want to springboard in this. This does give me hope for, even with this Clayface movie we have coming up. I love that we're really celebrating that little Batman goes a long way, and that's kind of the between. Also, I'm just saying in general, recently between the Penguin show and this, And that is and possibly the Clayface may come up. It's the fact that we could get away with what we've always been saying. We like, for example, if they ever followed through on the Gotham Central show, we know they're not. But I'm saying even going back to when Gotham was announced, had it not been a prequel, had it just been like literally Gotham Central, but with Jim Gordon factored in, which is the one thing that was lacking from the comic. Had it just been like, what you had in that story was like Batman is around, but he's like in silhouette. He's barely in it. Just a little Batman goes a long way, and that tracks for that characters. And the glory of Batman has all these very fascinating, interesting rogues who can carry their own stories and be really interesting. Any of their origins would be an Oscar-winning movie, I assure you. But with that in mind, you have to have like the button or the period or the ... at the end of like, and it all went well for him until there's Batman. He shows up. Either we see him or we keep him in silhouette. That's what I'm saying. Even with the Penguin, as we've seen, bat signal. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's all we need. So this kind of thing gives me hope.
Get my way. Look out the window. Fuck.
That's the thing. He's the button ending. That's the thing. The Joker movies and everything. Again, it's like, well, why are we going at everybody's? All we need is like, and then there's the guy at the chemical factory that tosses him in. Essentially, that's the kind of thing. Like we have like one sequence, is one scene where the Batman is there, and we don't even have to fully show him. We barely have to cast the guy in the role. We just have to have the silhouette and just the symbolic nature of the character. We just need him there.
Batman in silhouette goes so much harder than just trying to get around Batman not being in your show when he should be.
So this is what I'm saying. Like this was done flawlessly. This is all we need, and not having a Batman yet. You can carry yourself for a while without having a Batman if we use them very strategically and very smartly, like this. Like we need to establish. Okay, how does Foster's? The only one we have. You're right. The only one we haven't really done this with is the Bride. But with that exception, we've seen how all these guys end up in the position that they are in. How they end up jailed. How they end up recruited on the team. And Phosphorus. He's a Batman villain. You gotta have Batman in there somewhere.
Yeah, and I love that Batman shows up and everything just stops. Like for Foster, like nope, you're done. Like you had your fun, Skeleton Man. Now you're going to jail.
Yep. Now I got to deal with the Penguin who's swallowed up your territory. So thanks for that.
Like Batman doesn't solve problems. He just moves them over. No, it's he looks massive in that silhouette. That is like borderline like Dark Knight Returns level like Batman mass.
That does in part. That does every time I see a bulky Batman with the obviously with the whole Brave and the Bold thing just kind of like deep into the background. Like we don't know when we're gonna get to it, but whenever we do, it does make me think, maybe a John Hamm. He's kind of scaled like a John Hamm. You never know.
Who's the actor that plays Jack Reacher?
Oh, Alan Richardson. Yeah, he wants to play him.
Yeah, he is massive.
He's another contender. But here, the problem with Alan Richardson is that I think he'd be an excellent Batman. It's like, can you believe no one's going to put two and two together? He's that Bruce Wayne is Batman. Like
it does if you make him believably a just outright like socialite douchebag and like constantly drunk. Like the way Bale presented himself at Batman Begins, like just have that be Bruce Wayne like almost 24/7.
Right. Well, then also here's the problem too. If you cast Richardson as Batman, you're going to have you're going to have like the whole side by side thing of like people saying, well, man, look how massive Batman is compared to very economically, kind of size Superman.
So Superman doesn't need to be big.
I'm with you. I'm just saying I can see it now. The headlines are going to be, why is Batman so much bulkier than Superman? I don't like this.
Hypothetical headlines that like if this happens, I'm all like, I don't care that you don't believe that like Superman should be smaller than shouldn't be smaller than Batman. Like it doesn't matter. He's Superman. You ask them both to lift a car. Guess which one's gonna do it?
I mean, that is kind of a fun angle on if you think about that. Think about this. Okay, so Superman again. It's the logic. Well, Superman doesn't have to bulk up or work out, which is always the great thing with the character. We keep kind of forgetting when we cast these guys. On the flip side, though, Batman, to measure up to basically being as super a man can be while being human, he would probably be pretty built up.
Batman's whole gimmick is like 40% like rumor and mystique,
Yeah.
and like the other 40% is like just beating the crap out of people, and the remainder 20% is just money.
Well, also this too, think about this again, because the way we're kind of doing Batman now, well, admittedly, in the long haul, it would seem all the dates being pushed back and everything, we have a very scrawny young Batman. So it feels like the way to go about that would be just kind of like not an old Batman, not purely Dark Knight Returns, but at the very least a Batman who's been Batman for a while and would be, be pretty built up. It would be kind of it'd be like a Jim Lee Batman in terms of build at a minimum.
And I'll be honest, I've always liked the idea of a Batman who's been around a little bit longer than Superman has, because it kind of goes to show it's like this is the best I can do, and like I have to do it now because like I'm in the part of my life. Superman's like, should I? Do I have a right? I guess I will.
Remember, technically DCAU Batman was around. Well, not just literally chronologically, but I mean in universe was around before Superman.
Oh yeah, no, he was around for a hell of a long time. Before Superman, like years and years.
Oh, I know, yeah.
And then also the Superman animated series is pretty nebulous with how much time passes.
Well, no, it's just the fact in the origin we had the Kent. I don't want you running around like I don't want you being perceived like that nut in Gotham. That implies that there is a nut in Gotham when Superman's just getting started. So Batman's been around.
We don't know how early that is for Batman, though.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: okay, you're right. Sorry, let me put it to you this way. By the time Superman starts, we're in the new Batman Adventures era. So working off that assumption, mind you, at least the season of Superman goes by before we bring Batman back in that venue. But you'd have to assume we're in the new Batman Adventures era of Batman. So he's been Batman for a while, and this is like going back to like the getting the first Robin. So he's been Batman for a long while at that point.
Here's
over 7 years at a minimum. Over 7 years.
I know when they meet, like we're already where we are with Batman, like currently, but I'm saying like within the context of Superman, we don't know how long he's been Superman before he meets Batman because time is nebulous. And I'll bring up the Mr. Mixie-Spitlick episode, his first appearance, like because Mixie reappears like 4 or 5 times in that episode, and we know he has to show up every 90 days.
Yep, no, you're right about that. Yeah, a few months go by.
The few months, like over a year.
Well, yeah, you're right. I'm saying like every time it's like a few months. So a few.
Yeah. Like 3 months total. So 3 months times 4 or 5 times. That's almost a year and a half, roughly.
It's pretty cool.
But we got Batman.
Yeah, so circling back, a lot of people have been thinking with the James Gunn Batman, whatever shape or form we will see him in, he will be. A lot of people are praying for a blue and gray Batman.
Blue and gray, it would be the best way to go, especially
given the title.
Well, not just that, but just what we've gotten so far and what we still currently have. Like, you would want these two Batman to be as distinctive as possible from each other.
Yeah, I mean, we have not, again, think of it, we have seen Batman in 2 shots of this show in total, and they've been in silhouette. So we haven't fully seen the cape even. All we know is he's definitely wearing gray. We know that much, because we've seen him like when he's crucified, and we've seen, more impaled. Superman was crucified. And we've seen him here in silhouette. So again, there's at least maybe a black or bluish, we don't know what the cape is. That could have been shadow, but yeah.
Could be a dark blue.
That's what I'm saying. It could be that's what I'm saying. It feels like we're going a Jim Lee route in live action. Whenever we do Brave and the Bold, I think that's going to be the compromise. It'll be Jim Lee mixed with maybe kind of almost like the animated show Batman Brave and the Bold, probably like a mixture of the two.
And if they want to change up the logo, just make a big bat logo with an outline of yellow. Maybe that could be a thing. I don't know. Superman's symbols outlined in yellow.
I saw someone did a really cool chart recently. I'm sorry, I know we're drifting over, but we're on topic though. With Superman, someone did like this chart basically pointing at all the little subtleties that basically the Superman costume that everyone's very up in arms about. Well, some people are. I don't know. no one's ever happy. The fact is, you have the Superman suit that is kind of like all these elements are references to all sorts of different depictions of Superman, which is really neat when you think about it. Like the logos, like Kingdom Come, like the little bit. There's some elements of Fleischer Superman there. You have like the New 52 parts of the outfit, the color schemes. I think
They
the
just
colors.
cherry
All Star
picked.
Superman is kind of like why we have the trunks. There's a lot.
Yeah, they cherry picked a lot of stuff from Superman over his entire existence to what we have now.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah, I mean it's cool. I gotta see it in action though, but I don't think seeing it in still does it any justice, but it does. It looks promising. But anyway.
I will say though, the poster though looks beautiful.
Yeah.
The first shot we got of the suit was a little underwhelming, but the poster looks outstanding. So yeah, Batman. Yeah, Batman out of nowhere, man. Just when you least expect him.
So let's. I want to shout out some comments here. Hunter Iggy said, "I see Alan Richardson as Aquaman or Get Married." Well, remember he actually was originally Aquaman, which again that would be actually really cool if they. I mean, look, I think a lot of people want to see him as Batman. Which look, that's what I'm saying. If they actually end up casting Batman, I'll still be pretty happy with that. I don't know if he's going to be definitive or not, but he's on the right path to being definitive. I'm saying short of a John Hamm, I think Alan Richardson's the next best thing. I think he's really good, but. Point being, he originally played Aquaman the pilot. That was I think was supposed to be a spin-off of Smallville, but at least in the Smallville era, they did that Aquaman pilot, and he was Aquaman in that pilot.
No. That was Justin Hartley in the pilot.
Oh wait, who was? So that was Oh yeah, you're right. That was just what was Alan Richardson then?
Smallville.
Wait, so he was Aquaman in Smallville.
He played Arthur Curry in Smallville.
Right. Sorry, I keep getting the two confused. You're right. Yeah, he was Aquaman in Smallville.
That's why when he became Hawk in Titans, it was kind of like, oh, he's back in DC.
Yep. So him, here's the thing. I could see if they cast him as Aquaman, do you think they should go the blonde hair, basically like the kind of like the Justice League animated series version of Aquaman, like with the hook hand and all?
It depends on how they want to present Aquaman. If they want to just already have him have a history. Yeah, or if they want him present him more as a classic hero, just kind of let's try to make these characters feel like they're pulled right out of the comics.
If you want to go for pulled right out of the comic, though, I'm gonna throw this at you. Captain Atom, as Hunter Iggy suggested, I could totally see him as Captain Atom.
That would be interesting. But how
you
much?
Remember Captain Atom, right?
Oh yeah, Nathaniel Adams.
Yeah.
How much of that would be practical? How much of that would be CGI?
I honestly, I think we would. I think we put him in a suit, but I think the mouth would basically the face. It might be a thing where the face is cut out and that part's CG. I'd like to think, but I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Here's the thing. I think to do him right off the page, you have to have the weird thing where he's it's the face is in the suit because he's a walking suit of energy, so he kind of has to be. It's always a thing of if Batman Beyond were ever done in live action, will we ever be able to have the moving mouth, be separate? Because that's always the impossible part of that. We always have to, every time someone does a live action adaptation, in fan film form, you have to cover the mouth. You can't have it move with the suit. So that's kind of the same deal with Captain Atom.
I think the trick for that would probably be to just paint the mouth and just seamlessly blend it into a practical mask, just erase the seams so it looks like it's all one thing.
Well, you might be right, but that's the thing. That is the one. Here's the thing. I was already blown away way back during Civil War. We had the eyes move with Spider-Man, and then here's the thing. We have gotten to a point where we've had the eyes that we're able to animate because we had Spider-Man Civil War. We kind of gave Batman the glowing eyes in BVS. Deadpool had moving eyes. That was most impressive to me, the way in which we did that, where the eyes are built, the white eyes are in the suit, and then we kind of animate them so they move a little bit with it. And then we've got Wolverine since. So we covered the eyes, and now we have the impossible thing is doing the mouth. That is we have to paint it, we have to try it to see if we'll ever get it to work.
I think the perfect way to try this out would be with a character like Plastic Man.
Well, what? No, that won't work. That why?
He is malleable everywhere.
Yeah, but he doesn't. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying though. He doesn't. He doesn't have a mask though, like covers his mouth.
Technically, neither does. Okay, so if they did that, they would probably have to paint him for filming and then go into post and edit that and try to make it seem natural or to an extent. Like that's the only way they would do it practically.
Hmm.
Yeah, that or just give him his classic suit.
That's what I'm saying. I think just the classic plasma suit, just his sunglasses, and then like basically like kind of a unitard kind of a thing, or like a little, you know. But that's the thing. So I don't think you need like. Anyway, point being, we haven't done like the full, you know, like the full covered mask thing. But again, we're drifting off focus here. That's talk for another time. Anywho, so again, to round things out, so we already talked about Eric Frankenstein on the plane, right? So I think we kind of covered that at the top. You know, he's killing everyone to. But again, he very love in a very loving way though. I love that he's like has the veil of class and charm. So I love that he brought Rick Flag to the hospital. He's grasped the plan enough to suit his needs, where he has this very self-indulgent reason to save the princess. At least he knows, okay, I'm going to save the princess, but I'm doing this only in order to save and impress the bride.
Yeah, he's still going with the plan, but just to fulfill his own selfish needs.
Yeah, I love that he's eating the dead guy's like steak on the plane and everything while he's very erudite and like over this brutal thing where he's killed like all the other passengers on the private plane. He's eating their food.
I'm under the impression that the pilot probably heated that up for him
Oh God.
because they hadn't even taken off yet.
Well, you're right. Maybe he did.
I
don't think he had time to do that. I think he just walked back to that curtain. Is like, you know, so turn around and fly the effing plane.
Yeah.
But again, I love it earlier on, like during the helicopter and everything. Like his guys, again, Frankenstein had no scruples. Like he, you know, jealous in a random jealous rage, he killed like the pilot and the people that he paid to spy on the bride 2 episodes ago, and now he's like not killing the pilot. So I think he's making progress, but very slowly. He's making progress.
I don't know. My final prediction for that is that Eric's going to become an official member of the Creature Commandos because he's going to get arrested by Argus, and he's going to be like, "Oh, that's great. That means I can be with my bride, like
so, right.
as much as possible."
So that does sound like that does sound really funny.
And it just sounds like just enough like horrible comeuppance for like the Commandos, especially the bride, to be like, "God damn it! No, I got to deal with him." Like,
but it feels like it'll. Do you foresee her actually working through things with him at some point to like that? There's like in a weird again, he has like a weird buffoonish charm that does grow. Do you think there's any chance of that happening in season 2?
Of them getting together?
I mean, not immediately, but I'm saying again, like James Gunn is like seemingly, and now mind you, even Gunn hasn't really fully pulled the. For example, Guardians 3, Gunn didn't.
She will never forgive him for what he did to Victor.
But that's the thing. Do you don't think she will?
Like not in the sense where she's willing to be with him. She will not forgive him like for that to be with him. I don't think she will ever find a way to be with him because that is just impossible for her. I think she would possibly try to find him like someone new to love, like basically be his wingman.
All right. Well, but I think we know the role of the wingman will be Rick Flag. I assure you.
Right? Yeah, his best friend.
I love the best friend thing. It's so...
Rick Flag is alive today is because Eric like misinterpreted their partnership as friendship.
You know, you call it Frankenflag. There's the spinoff.
Oh no. I don't want to search that up online.
But no, it's the idea of just it's still just really funny that I love like he's milking the drama to the pilot, trying to get him like you serve your small role in this romantic adventure that you were born like you're born your whole life's purpose has been to help be a day player in my romantic adventure. It's just really funny.
Everything is a means to an end to get him to his love. Like nothing else matters to him except for reuniting with the bride and them falling in love. As impossible as that seems, he assumes that she's just playing around, and I'm like, bro, she's been running away from you from centuries. Like there's hard to get, and then there's get away from me.
And he wants Rick Flag to be his best man at the wedding.
Good Lord.
Anyway, so okay, so beyond that, meanwhile Rick Flag and he's Amanda Waller waiting by his bedside from the wake up. Some people looked as though it's a tender moment with Amanda Waller. I think it's more so like she does have information that she needs, because right now it's the misnomer that Frankenstein did this, not Clayface, and Frankenstein's on his way to screw everything up. That's right now what the concern is.
Not just that, she is aware that there's a possibility that they're being screwed with. Like this is the most distraught I've ever seen Amanda Waller be since maybe the
end of Suicide Squad.
No, I was going to say the Cadmus arc in Justice League Limited.
Oh, sure.
Like when Batman's like call off the missile, she's like, I don't know what you're talking about, and then she's like shit. She's like, what's going on? Like she's like genuine, like what the hell is going on? This is the most Amanda Waller is the most interesting when she feels the most powerless, because that's when she's like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm basically like, I'm stuck here because you're the only thing that can tell me like remotely what might be going on, and you're unconscious.
Yeah, she's in desperate. Plus, Rick Flag's like her most loyal guy, and she didn't listen to him when she probably should have. But I wonder if there's like any like a twinge of at least from a tactical standpoint. I should have probably given Flag more credit there.
Yeah, because she doesn't even know that McPherson's dead.
She doesn't.
Yeah, because the Frankenstein just like rushed Flag to the hospital, and that was the only thing that they knew about. So they went straight to the hospital. They have no idea what's really going on. It's this whole episode, like I said, it was a roller coaster of emotions, and at the same time, it was like a very like calming before the storm. Like I think it's
really nice when they all like. We forgot to mention one of the best parts though.
What?
Dr. Phosphorus, he's this whole episode, he's been kind of like when he's been hiding out in this house. You have this little girl who's just kind of woken up in the middle of the night and kind of caught him, and he's like feeding her cereal, and they're kind of hanging out, and it's very sweet, very innocent, and again, it's kind of like I wouldn't say redemptive, but it is like it's a moment of just kind of like seeing the father in him come back, or at least see just kind of like the humanity in him come back after the whole frame. It feeds into the framing device very well with like the brutality and the tragicness of his origin, and just ending with the family coming out and seeing him play catch with the little girl is like a semblance of his humanity. Yeah, and just him asking like, can I get directions to the castle as they point that way? It's really nice.
This is probably the first time, like, since he became Dr. Phosphorus, where he's felt even remotely human.
Yes, I really love that moment. I really love just giving that to him. It's after all the horrible, horrific things that we saw him go through and seen him do, and just giving him that moment. And again, I think that's also with the whole calm before the storm thing. It just gives him a moment of. We've rounded out these characters so well. Still with Nina to go, but already we like her. So just seeing the horrible thing that's happened to her.
Like between her and everyone else, she's objectively the most like reasonable of the entire group. Like she's not even
as Tiki alluded to earlier, she's the rat catcher too of the team for sure. I mean, most certainly. So. Just seeing we again, this seems like the whole like point of the framing device here. So we're getting to the last episode. We've built in like dimensional likability and understanding to these characters, and they're going on this essentially a path that is probably going to lead to the end of the world, not through no fault of their own, just following orders, and again probably through like a misunderstanding that will in cause the end of the world.
Yeah, the James Gunn has shown time and time again that one of his strongest suits so far has been taking a team of unlikable people and making them likable. Like these are people that are for the most part like kind of bad, to varying degrees. Like even the bride has like she's such a misanthrope. It's almost like, yeah, you probably don't want to be in jail, but you probably should be in jail because just to keep you away from everyone and everything. And it's probably the only like piece you've ever gotten from Frankenstein, honestly.
He's like, I'm gonna get real annoying and philosophical on you here, okay? James Gunn as a creative, he's got gray hair. Well, I guess now it's more white, but just for the point of this, let's say, he's got gray hair. It's all about the gray in his characters and his worldview. It's all about the gray, man.
Maybe.
Yeah, I was throwing that out there for the heck of it. No, I don't know. It's just the fact that, seriously, he does paint with a gray canvas in very interesting ways. He's cultivated. The man paints so colorfully with a palette of gray, I guess is the best way of putting that.
Tries to find the light in the darkness that are these people that are beside themselves with.
The man is rabid in a snowstorm. Use a Daredevil parable. The man is rabid in a snowstorm with the white hair. He finds all about all the meaning we derive from looking at these characters we've defined as one simplistic thing.
And then season 3 has blood everywhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Anyway, so it's really nice seeing them regroup at the end and like the whole liking the new look. This is like, oh, shut up, Jack Skellington.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I think somebody even goes like, I guess we all made it. And I'm like, yeah, there's only 4 of you. Like you guys don't even have reinforcement for other like Argus soldiers. It's just you 4. Yeah. This was a good episode. And ultimately not a lot really happened like plot wise. And it was still like arguably like one of the best episodes, maybe so far.
I'd say so. I thought it was really. We haven't had a stinker, so I mean, this is a really good one.
The weakest one so far, I think we mentioned it before, was the what was it?
I don't think we have. I don't think there's a weak one. Huh? What are you talking about?
No, I'm not saying bad. I'm just saying like out of all of them, like the one that like hits the least is not Weasels. Not, I guess maybe Frankenstein.
I mean, I do think that Frankenstein's is objectively like out of the 5, it's probably like closer to an 8 out of 10 than a 9 out of 10. But again, like I said, I don't dislike the episode because it's toxic masculinity put on a pedestal.
He's not a core member of the team. That's why, at least not yet. So like, I think that's the reason.
Man, even the credits.
I mean, yeah. Okay, look. I'm gonna throw. I think the only ones that trail behind, but through no fault of their own, they're not bad episodes. Just they outshine. They get outshine by everything else. It's like 1 and 5. Those are the only ones that have. And I really like 1. But
now this is a good show. Nothing barring just like a complete crapshoot for the finale would ruin this show. And just going, depending on where we go for the finale, I'm super interested what season 2 is going to be. It's so fun. Have you guys talked about this? About the fact that this was just basically reworked to become this when it was initially supposed to be a part of the original continuity before the shift in the DC film?
I didn't hear. Are you sure about that? I thought this was like purely James Gunn like came up with this like during. Oh, actually, no, that was Peacemaker. He came up Peacemaker during the lockdown.
He wrote Peacemaker like during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I believe like while doing Peacemaker, either during production or post production, he also wrote this.
Okay.
That's why there's connections to. Peacemaker and Suicide Squad. This was supposed to be a follow-up to that, and then everything changed.
Well, there you go. I guess that tracks.
He didn't want to throw this away because he felt it was too good. And I'm like, watching EO, I'm like, yeah, no, I wouldn't want to throw this away either.
I mean, again, it's kind of I do love that we're using James Gunn's work to kind of bridge the two things in a way. And again, I've said this before. I really like the approach of we're keeping. I've always said I wanted this with whatever restructuring we do with DC. Just if we could get to a point, now, unfortunately, Cavill wasn't lucky enough to carry over like this. Like I think a lot of us might have hoped. Nothing against Cornsway. I haven't seen him yet. I'm just saying that we all feel really bad. Even Deadpool feels really bad about what happened to Cavill.
Yeah,
But
Henry
it's
Cavill never got a chance to shine as Superman, and it's a shame that he
the
was.
fact that he really wanted, he respected that character. That's the whole, the fact that he liked that character, respecting. Sadly, the best we got out of him was the Joss Whedon version. It's not saying much.
I still like Man of Steel, despite the ending.
Well, look, sure. I think I don't want to get into the whole Man of Steel thing here. That's not the negative of Man of Steel. I'm just saying Man of Steel is. I used to keep it brief. That the ending of Man of Steel works, but it only works if BVS delivers, and it didn't. That's my point there. Yeah. But it worked anyway. Fact of the matter is, with the carryover though, it feels like we kind of take what we like, and then we can just work with it, and we acknowledge what we need to acknowledge. So anything that's acknowledged happened, and we can kind of fill in the blanks ourselves and be able to keep the actors and the performances that really dazzled us and really stuck. So that's kind of the carryover logic, and so far we've been applying that. So at least I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that about does it. Else we're going to go on longer than the duration of the whole series, but
yeah, it covers the whole episode.
Yeah, so again, I want to thank Hunter Iggy and Little Blue for showing up, and I want to thank Jon Kelling for not leaving us in the lurch.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, it's been a crazy new year so far, and that's not even just talking about my stuff. This last few days have just been insane, day to day.
Yeah, I mean, your whole family got murdered, and you got put into like a radiation chamber as a whole.
We don't talk about El Salvador.
Or its neighbor, Pakistan.
Yeah, they're right next to each other.
Yeah. Anyway, so thanks for tuning in, folks. Again, check us out for the finale and some other stuff we have coming at you. So till then.
And do your part. Vote in the golden tikis. Wild card, bitches.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Dancing Skeleton.
That's for that.